CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are in extremely difficult situations now, and I wouldn't be shocked if one of, if not both of these guys, crumble like a cookie and fold under the pressure. I think they can be great in the NFL. I think their potential is through the roof, but at the same time, we gotta come to terms with reality. The NFL is a different beast. Good morning or afternoon. I always mess up and do that. You guys, you're going to see the video in the afternoon. My apologies. First things first, I got to say this before we get into anything. Am I the only person who is ready for fall to hurry up and get here? I am tired. I'm a person. I like the warm weather, but it's so hot outside. It is unbearable. It feels like I'm standing on the sun. And also to go on top of that, I'm just tired of cutting grass. I'm ready for fall because you know what fall means? It's the best time of the year. You got college football starting up, basketball starting up. You got your pumpkin spice lattes if that's your forte. Pumpkin, just everything. It's awesome. You can say what you want about me, but I'm not scared to admit it. I'm not insecure. Yeah, I like me a nice little pumpkin spice candle lit up during the season. I like the fragrances of fall and just everything goes along with it, but that's right besides the point, Matt. Lock in. Let's get down to business. I know we started off this video completely off topic. I do apologize. But since we are talking about it, let me know in the comment section, what's your favorite time of the year? I tell you what, man, the older I'm getting, the more I start to like fall, but I gotta put winter, Christmas time at number one. It's still my number one. There's just something about Christmas. I love it. But on a serious note here, we gotta talk about not one, not two, but three of the top 4 picks in the NFL draft. And if you don't know who I'm referring to, I'm talking about Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, and Bryce Young. But more so of what we're going to focus on in this video is the dilemma currently with Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud. Let's just say things are heating up, and they're heating up quickly, probably quicker than most people expected. I'm not going to say I expected this because I really didn't know what to expect, but here's what I will tell you. I'm in favor of this, and I wanted this to happen from the jump. I'll explain my reasoning for that in just a second, and I'm sure some of you have no idea what's currently going on. As you can see right here as well, Anthony Richardson, he's been trending all over Twitter all morning long. We're going to talk all about that. It's as simple as that. All right, this intro's already been way too long. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, I just want to give a quick shout out to Chicken Bone News 3569. You see his comment right here. It's not really the comment, but this guy is always commenting on the videos. I always see you. I just want to say thank you so much for all the support. I feel like Chicken Bone News here is almost like a staple of the channel because he's always commenting great stuff on the videos, always really positive, and I appreciate that. Did want to shed some light on that, but let's get straight into things. We'll start out with Anthony Richardson first. The reason he is trending is because his head coach just announced that he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts, which is caught some people by surprise because a lot of the speculation around this team was that, hey, maybe you let Gardner Minshew start the first couple of games and then you throw Anthony Richardson in there in week 4, week 5. Or maybe, and we talked about this as well, it might be best case scenario to push them all the way back until week 7 or week 8 when the Colts are already like 2-5 and nobody even cares and there's not a lot of pressure on them. Because we all know this, if the Colts are 2-6 and you start them, well, there's not going to be a lot of pressure because most fans are like, yeah, the season's already over. But on the flip side, if you start them week 1, no, everybody is 0-0, so the pressure's at an all-time high. You could argue and say that there's more pressure in week 0 than any week of the year. This is when the fan bases are most engaged, and it's also when fan bases are going to overreact the most. But regardless of that, y'all know how I feel about the situation. I've said this since he got drafted from day 1. Start him. Why would I start him? Because it's the same thing with buying a Lamborghini. You don't save up $400,000 or $300,000, however much it is to buy a Lambo, work your entire life, finally buy your dream car to put it in the garage and let it collect dust. No. You buy a Lamborghini, you drive it every day for the next year or 2. It's the same principle at Anthony Richardson. You don't draft a guy in the top 5 to put him in the garage. No, let's go. You got to throw him in the fire. Is it fair? Probably not, but it's got to happen. That's how I feel in the situation. You're going to pay a kid $35 million, you might as well play him. And also another reason I'm in favor of starting him in week 1 is because now you can find out quicker if he's a guy or not, because let's say worst case scenario, you realize this guy's a complete bust, well, at least you can move on. Whereas if you don't start him till week 8 and he doesn't have a great season, you'll probably give him another year or 2. So all in all, I'm in favor of this. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about it? I do need to state this though. Although I like this decision and I would do the same thing, you really don't got too much more time to prepare. The season kicks off in a couple of weeks, and let's pull up the Colts schedule because I have no idea who they're playing. Week 1, you got the Jaguars. That's going to be a tough game. Week 2, you got the Texans. The Texans are awful. You should win that one. And then you got the Ravens, and then you got the Rams. I wouldn't say the Colts have a easy schedule the first 4 weeks, but it's definitely not hard. I'd say the Ravens are decent. The Jaguars are decent. And, the Rams are up and down. You never know. I know the Rams had a bad year last year, but I do expect them to bounce back. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do, but they're not terrible. They're not like the Texans. The Texans are awful. Let's take a look at this, though, and here's where things really, and I mean really, get interesting, at least to me. I'm not a Colts fan, so let me know in the comment section if you are. What is the notion around Anthony Richardson? Are Colts fans expecting him and NFL fans expecting him in game 1 to go out there and have a great game? Because realistically speaking, that's not going to happen. And honestly, realistically speaking, even more, the first couple of weeks, he probably won't have a good game. And that's where my question marks start to arise and why it piques my interest so much. Because what do people expect out of AR? For example, I think everybody knows what we're expecting out of Bryce Young. We expect Bryce Young to go to the NFL and dominate. We expect Bryce Young to look like he did at Alabama in the NFL. We're not giving Bryce Young any time. You're number 1 pick. You won the Heisman Trophy. It's do or die. And I'd say it's the same thing with CJ Stroud, but with Anthony Richardson, it feels a little different, at least to me. It feels like, hey, this is a young guy that we're trying to develop. He's not as developed as CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, and I think most people would agree with that. But at the same time, I know if he goes out there against the Jaguars in week 1 and he goes 9 for 22 with 2 INTs, everybody's going to be calling him a bust already. That's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but is that fair? Because remember, this is supposed to be a guy you're developing. And then it also raises this question for me because they do have Gardner Minshew, who is more than capable of winning some NFL games. What if he goes out there against the Jaguars, doesn't play good? What if he goes out there against the Texans, doesn't play good? Well, do you bench him for Gardner Minshew? And that's where things get really dicey because if you bench a rookie quarterback, you could mess up his entire career, mess up his psyche, and all that stuff. The Colts are playing a dangerous game by starting him week 1 because this could hit the fan. And like I said, I agree with it, but at the same time, on the other side of it, and it's the bad side of it, and it could happen, throwing a rookie quarterback into a fire when he's not ready, it could ruin his career. It really could. If Anthony Richardson loses his confidence, he may never, ever gain it back. I'm excited. I really am, but I'd also be sitting up here lying if I told you guys I think AR is ready to go. Because truth be told, no, this guy's not even close to ready, but that's how life is. Normally, when you're trying to do something, you're never going to be ready. Most people out here, whenever you're going after something ambitious, you just got to take that next leap and you'll learn along the way. That's how I think it's going to go for AR. He's going to hit a lot of bumps in the road. It is worth mentioning and throwing in there, though. I think he's going to show flashes of greatness. There's one thing for sure, though, and I think we can all agree on this. He is a very perplexing prospect, to say the least. We'll see what happens there. Moving along to another rookie quarterback. What's going on with CJ Stroud? And we'll get to Bryce in just a second, but I'm not going to say too much on him, so I'll save him for last. Just how we talked about Anthony Richardson, he has been named the Colts starting quarterback, and Bryce Young was named the starting quarterback for the Panthers a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was only 1 week ago. Well, for old CJ Stroud here, and you know where I'm going with this, he has not been named the starting quarterback. He is expected to be named the starting quarterback, but he hasn't been named the starting quarterback just quite yet. Presumably, CJ Stroud is going to be named the starter, but what concerns me with Stroud and his situation, and it's the same thing with Anthony Richardson, I'm not too sold on the fact that CJ Stroud is the most NFL-ready quarterback on that Houston Texans roster. They have a guy on that Texans roster that nobody really shows a lot of love to, but I think he's slightly above average, and that's Davis Mills. Don't get it twisted. Am I saying that Davis Mills is your franchise guy? Heck to the no. But right now, currently, if you needed to win one game tomorrow, I think Davis Mills is your best option. I really do. And yet again, it's almost like deja vu. We just talked about it. Well, what if CJ Stroud, he starts game 1 and game 2 and the O-line's terrible and he has a couple interceptions and a fumble? Do you bench him for Davis Mills? Do you give Mills an opportunity? I don't see why not, because a lot of y'all don't understand. People's jobs and these head coaches' jobs are on the line. A lot of these head coaches don't have time to develop CJ Stroud for 3 to 4 years. They need to win now. And if you need to win now and CJ Stroud is playing like booty juice, you got to put in Davis Mills. Is the GM going to like that? Heck to the no, because the GM wants a long-term rebuild, but the head coach don't care. His job is to win games. Time is ticking for these guys. They don't have too much longer to get ready because you got a couple of weeks and you're going to be playing in the NFL. And Bryce Young is currently the only rookie quarterback that looks like he's ready for the moment. CJ Stroud in the preseason game, he looked like a deer in headlights. And Anthony Richardson, I thought he looked better than CJ Stroud, but I still don't think he's ready. With Bryce Young, he looks calm, cool, and collected as ever. And also at Bryce Young, why I think he's in a better situation is because even if he plays bad in the first 3, 4, 5 games, he's not going to get benched. It's not like the Panthers have a viable option behind them. Whereas the Texans, yeah, they got Davis Mills. He can win you some games. And same thing with Gardner Minshew for the Colts. Maybe some of you will agree with this. Maybe some of you won't, but I don't feel like there's a lot of pressure on Bryce Young. I think the most pressure is on CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are in extremely difficult situations now, and I wouldn't be shocked if one of, if not both of these guys crumble like a cookie and fold under the pressure. For both of these young men, I think they can be great in the NFL. I think their potential is through the roof. But at the same time, we got to come to terms with reality. The NFL is a different beast. It is so, and I mean so hard to exceed at that quarterback position in the NFL. It's one of the toughest jobs out there. There's only 32 spots in the entire world. I'm wishing them the best of luck. Season's right around the corner. Let me know your thoughts down below. But roll a minute.